All right, notes 3.4 are on real-world applications of linear equations. We are going to apply everything that we learned about slope and y-intercept to real-life scenarios. This is probably one of the most applicable things that you will have in your everyday lives. For example, you go to buy a cell phone contract, and once you buy into the contract, you have to pay a certain amount of money every month. That would be your y-intercept. And then extra money per extra call you make or per extra text message you send, unless of course you have like an unlimited plan. Anyways, question number 1, a swimming pool when full holds a certain amount of water. When the drain is open, the amount of water in the pool drains out at a constant rate. The graph shows the amount of water, W gallons, in the pool H hours after the drain is opened. Question A, find the vertical intercept of the graph and explain what information it gives about the situation. Now, you haven't seen the word vertical intercept before, but it's nothing new to you. We normally just call it the y-intercept. Vertical and y are basically the same thing in this example. So, look at your graph and find out what is the y-intercept. Well, it's 648,000, okay? But what's the unit? Gallons, all right? So the answer to this is 648,000 gallons, but what does it tell you about the situation? Remember, your y-intercept is always your initial amount. So the pool initially had 648,000 gallons of water in it. Okay. All right, now question B, find the slope of the graph and explain what information it gives about the situation. Now remember, when you find slope, you can just do rise over run if it's just given to you as a graph. You don't have to do any extra work. So I can use this as my starting point and I can use this as my ending point. So how much was the rise? How much was the run? Well, the rise, a lot of people will look at this and will say it's -2, but please be really careful to look at your units. It's not -2, it went from 648,000 to 548,000. So the slope, or the rise, went down by 100,000. So we'll say it's a -100,000, okay? And then the run, a lot of people, be careful, will say it's 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's really not 4. It went from 0 to 50, so it's -100,000 gallons in 50 hours. You are required to label your units for slope when you are solving a real-world problem, because it's crucial that you understand what the slope even means, okay? So then when you divide it all out, you'll end up getting -2,000 gallons per hour. Well, what does that mean? It means the pool is emptying at a rate of 2,000 gallons per hour. Now, notice how I did not say -2,000 gallons per hour, because emptying implies the negative. Now, I know it doesn't ask for the equation of the line, but I'm going to write it down anyway so you can understand what this is saying. So the equation of the line would end up being y equals -2,000x plus 648,000. Okay, and you should be able to look at an equation and be able to understand that information from the equation, that the initial amount of water in the pool was 648,000 and that it's draining at a rate of -2,000 gallons per hour. All right, so let's take a look at question number 2. Jeanette rents a bike while visiting a city. She pays $7 per hour to rent the bike. She also pays $8 to rent a baby seat for the bike. She pays this amount for the baby seat no matter how many hours she rents the bike. The graph shows her total cost C after H hours. Find the vertical intercept of the graph and explain what information it gives about the situation. Well, hopefully you can recognize that the vertical intercept here is $8, and what it represents is the initial amount, which is the amount that she needs to rent the baby seat, okay? So she initially spends $8 to rent a baby seat. Okay, and then question B, find the slope of the graph and explain what information it gives about the situation. So, same thing, I'm going to do the rise over the run. I'm going to choose a point where I know exactly what the starting amount is and exactly what the ending amount is. So I'm going to go up this much and over this much. Okay, so the rise would be from 8 to 64, which means it went up by 56. Okay, and then the run was from 0 to 8, so it went over by 8. So your answer right here is 7, oh, sorry, we have to label our units. So $56, and this is 8 hours. So our answer is $7 per hour. Okay, so this means that she pays a rate of $7 per hour. Now, to be honest, you don't even need to see this graph to answer these questions because all of that information is in the initial setup of the problem. I want to go back to number 1 because there's one thing about number 1 that I forgot to tell you guys with the slope. So notice how I use this is my starting point and this is my ending point. I want to show you what happens if I use a different starting and ending point. So let's say that I used this is my starting point and this is my ending point, okay? So then when you do this right here, here's my slope triangle. So you're going to figure out your rise and your run, all right? And hopefully you can figure that out. Oops, sorry. So how much did it go down by? Well, it went from 548,000 to 248,000, so it went down by negative 300,000. All right, and then how much did it go over by? It went from 50 hours to 200 hours, so it was 150 hours. So if I were to do the slope here, I would get negative 300,000 gallons, right, over 150 hours. All right, last question. Anna and Michael are salespeople. Each of them earns a fixed monthly salary plus an additional percent of the amount in dollars that he or she sells that month. So the total monthly amount, E dollars, a salesperson earns depends on how much in S dollars he or she sells. So question A says find the fixed monthly salary for each person. Well, first of all, let's fix these names. This should be Anna. And then this one should be Michael. Okay? So how do I figure out what the fixed monthly salary is? Well, first of all, it says each of them earns a fixed monthly salary. So it's the initial amount that they get paid to begin with. So we can say that Anna's initial amount was $2,500. Okay, that's how much she gets paid at the beginning of the month. And that Michael gets paid $1,500. Where did I get these answers from? I got them from the graph. Okay, it's the y-intercept, it's the initial amount. Now, question B, both Anna and Michael earn a percent commission. Who earns more commission? You don't actually have to calculate the answer to this question because it doesn't say by how much more yet, but you can just look at the graph and figure out the answer. So Anna's graph, look at the steepness of Anna's graph and look at the steepness of Michael's graph. It's very obvious that Michael's graph is steeper, so it's obvious that Michael is the one who earns more commission. Okay, so we'll say Michael does because he has a higher slope. So then the last question says find each person's commission. So now I have to figure out how much each person actually made. So the commission is the slope. It's the rise over the run. So Anna earned, here's my rise, here's the run. Okay, so the question is how much did she earn? How much did this go up by? Well, this is 2,500, this is 3,000, so halfway in between should be 2,750, right? So Anna earned from 2,500 to 750, that's an increase of $250, okay, over a course of $5,000 worth of sales. Okay, so then what do I have to do with those numbers? Divide them out. So you're going to want to choose a new document, and you're going to want to add a calculator. Okay, so let's divide 250 by 5,000, and don't forget to press Control Enter to get the number as a percentage or as a decimal. You get 0.05. Now the question is, what is that as a percentage? That means that Anna makes 5% commission. Okay, so that means that for everything that she sells, she gets to keep 5% of that money. Okay, now let's figure it out for Michael. Michael, we know, started here, and here's a possible ending point. It's not the only ending point, but it's a possible one. So this, how much was the rise? It went up, let me write down the formula, sorry, rise over run. It went up by 500 because it went from 1,500 to 2,000. So it went up by $500 over this amount of money right here, which is $2,500 or $2,500. Okay, don't forget that when you divide out the same unit, they'll cancel each other out. That's why there was no unit here for Anna's commission, and there won't be any unit for Michael's commission. So let's divide it. 500 divided by 2,500. Control Enter. You end up getting 0.2. What is that as a percentage, though? A lot of people will look at this and think it's 2%, but a percentage goes out to the hundredths place, so I need to add an extra 0 here. So this means that Michael makes 20% commission. Okay, make sure that you are actively watching this video and that you ask me any questions on anything that might have been confusing to you. Have a good day.